In His grace, God gave us a sequential end-time timeline that was hidden in the Psalms for thousands of years, waiting to be discovered. It has now been revealed here at the last minutes of the church age. This channel discusses end-time prophecy from the unique perspective of the encrypted timeline in the Psalms. If you want to know where we are on the timeline, please subscribe and take some time to watch the other videos on this channel. Also, please consider purchasing a copy of Encrypted, Unlocking the Timeline Revelation in the Psalms. Not only will it help you to better understand the time we're living in, but it will also be a very important book to leave behind. God bless you.
Oh. Welcome. We're back. It's a Tuesday. It's not a Friday. And we're going to do a short little thing today. I did not get a chance to finish the Lazarus study. I did try to work on it. I got about another page and a half maybe written. I'm going to take it to Alabama and work on it there, God willing. And I was hoping to have something, I was hoping to have it finished, but, you know, like I said last time, that car right there, if there were a cliff handy, I would push it off a cliff. But we live in a very flat area, so there are no cliffs, so I'm stuck with it. So anyway, all the car stuff aside, I didn't get to do or finish the Lazarus study, which I'm really upset about because my notebook is fantastic. I'm looking at it, I'm just like, man, I got to get all this written, but it needs to be coherent. And what's jumbled up in my mind and on my pieces of paper isn't very coherent, so I have to kind of make all that work. So anyway, what I thought we would do tonight is to look at something that's been kind of happening in the background, but the internet has been kind of crazy with it for a while, I think since July, and that's this supposed comet or possibly alien mothership called ThreeI Atlas. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No.
So anyway, I thought we would just kind of look at that tonight. I've been wanting to talk about it, but then I've had other studies that I wanted to do, and it seems like I might have mentioned it once that it was kind of happening in the background, but I didn't really get to go into it. So anyway, before we start, I want to say thanks to everybody praying for this ministry, praying for Dennis. I still don't really have any confirmation on Dennis. He is still here. Okay, I know he went home with hospice. He's not in the hospital anymore. I keep asking my brother-in-law, are you hearing anything? And he says that he gets a text from him or something, every night. I don't think he's talking a lot because I know that's hard. So they're doing some texting, but nothing really definitive yet. So, just keep asking. I want to just keep asking for prayer for him. And thank you to those who have decided to, try to help support this ministry. And I know I say this a lot, but it's more valuable than you know. And right now, I'm trying to shut the shop down. I have turned down quite a few jobs because we're trying to get out of here. And so, I still have a lot of work to do, but it's not valuable work, I guess that would be the best way to put it. So it's keeping me very busy, and I don't get to spend enough time studying and doing that time of the day that I really love more than anything, because we're kind of on a deadline. We have to get stuff finished and get out of here. So I have commitments and obligations there too. So anyway, I just wanted to say that really quick. So tonight, instead of Lazarus, we're going to talk about this comet called ThreeI Atlas. And I wanted to start with just this is just kind of all off the cuff. I mean, it was about, you all got here at 6. It was about 5:05 when I thought, I don't know what I'm doing tonight because I didn't get to finish the Lazarus thing. And so what I did is I went to my book, because I had a part in the book where I talked about this scenario, okay? Not about a comet, but about the coming or the possibility of the coming great deception and what it could be. So ThreeI Atlas is what we're going to talk about tonight, and let me put my glasses on. So I wanted to start with a little section out of my book that talks about this, because then you may not understand why I'm saying this at first, but many of you probably will. But then I'll kind of wrap it up at the end, and it'll make some sense. So anyway, this section in my book was called The Spin of the Rapture. So I'm just going to read this real quick. How will the rapture be explained or spun in the news media to all those who are unaware that they have been caught in the trap? Now the trap is obviously, we talk about that. It's the Pages, the Fowler snare, the bird snare. That is the rapture. So we've got the earth dwellers then that will still be here, but we will escape as a bird from the Fowler snare. How will they control the chaos that it will certainly cause in many countries around the world when millions of people vanish from the face of the earth? Perhaps the explanation of the rapture will be part of the global deception that takes place and helps the Antichrist to rise to power. After all, many Jewish rabbis expect the world to be at war and in chaos when their Messiah arrives. Of course, we know that their Messiah is the false Messiah that we call the Antichrist. Remember that Amos 3:7 tells us that God will not do anything unless he first tells his servants, the prophets. I believe that Satan does the exact same thing through movies, music, television, books, and through his disciples in the occult and the New Age movement. Maybe Satan reveals things before they happen because he is a counterfeit to God and imitates what God does, or maybe he's also bound by the same rules, or the rule of Amos 3:7. Remember that no matter what, God is in control of all of these things. Don't you know that Satan knows that the rapture is coming? Just as Satan has deceived many with the global warming narrative, instead of believing that God is shaking the earth to wake us up, Satan has already paved the way for those left behind to believe a lie. So what do you think CNN and other news agencies will report when millions of people suddenly vanish from the face of the earth? Satan has had plenty of time to come up with an answer that suits his plan. He's had a lot of time to try to figure out God's prophetic timing. In the same way that an army general tries to figure out the battle plan of their enemy, Satan is already prepared with a media campaign of lies and deception, and I believe that it relates to the increase in news coverage of aliens, UFOs, or now they call them UAPs, from all over the world. Okay. Here are just a few of the many writings from New Age authors describing a time when many will disappear from our planet. We've talked about this a few times in the past. You may notice a common environmental theme running through all of them. Is this at least part of the strong delusion spoken of in 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 through 12? Okay, now this is a writing from, it's called Project World Evacuation. It was published in 1993 by New Age channeler Thelma Terrell. Okay, this is what she wrote in 1993. Channeling demons, but she thinks she's channeling other entities. Our rescue ships will be able to come in close enough in the twinkling of an eye to set the lifting beams in operation in a moment. And all over the globe where events warrant, this will be the method of evacuation. Mankind will be lifted, levitated, shall we say, by the beams from our smaller ships. These smaller craft will in turn taxi the persons to the larger ships overhead, higher in the atmosphere where there is ample space and quartz and supplies for millions of people. We watch diligently the threat of a polar shift for the planet in your generation. As I recall, this lady thinks she's speaking to some alien from another galaxy. Okay, so this is the alien then talking. We watch diligently the threat of a polar shift for the planet in your generation. Such a development would create a planetary situation through which no one could survive. This would necessitate an evacuation such as I have referred to. Earth changes will be the primary factor in mass evacuation of this planet. The great evacuation will come upon the world very suddenly, like in the twinkling of an eye. The flash of emergency events will be as lightning that flashes in the sky. That sounds biblical too, as the lightning flashes from the east to the west. So suddenly and so quick in its happening that it is over almost before you are aware of its presence. So really fast. Okay, New Age author Kay Wheeler wrote an article in 1994. There's a lot of stuff going on in the 90s. The Time Is Now is what it was called, in the New Age journal Connecting Link magazine. Her information, she said, came from ETs from the 7th celestial plane of life who are concerned with helping Earth evolve to full consciousness. All this is New Age stuff. Here's what she wrote. The mother is desperately fighting for her life. Many of her vortexes have been drained. She is in critical condition at this time and must turn her thoughts to herself if she is to survive. Now the mother is Earth here, okay? That is why you see the many crises in the world. Many of these you don't hear about on your screen of lies. Much of this is necessary. Many of these beings have appointments to leave at this time. Earth's population needs to be decreased to bring forth the necessary changes upon this planet to move into the 4th dimension. Many of these beings who are leaving this planet at this time may have completed that which they came to do. It is a time of great rejoicing for them. Do not feel sad about their leaving. They are going home. Many are waiting to be with them again. Many beings must move on from their thought patterns many beings must move on, for their thought patterns are of the past. They hold on to these thoughts that keep Earth held back. Okay, here's another one. This is Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak or something like that. I don't care. Written after channeling over 400 hours, she wrote, the people who leave the planet during the time of Earth changes do not fit in here any longer, and they are stopping the harmony of the Earth. When the time comes that perhaps 20 million people leave the planet at one time, there will be a tremendous shift in consciousness for those who are remaining. You see a common theme through all of this? Mm-hmm. And look at what's going on in the world today. Look at when Charlie Kirk, when he died, how jubilant a whole population of people was. I can see that in all of this. They're going to be rejoicing that we, the ones holding the Earth back, are gone. If human beings do not change, if they do not make the shift in values and realize that without Earth they could not be here, then Earth, in its love for its own initiation, is reaching for a higher frequency, will bring about a cleansing that will balance it once again. There is the potential for many people to leave the planet in an afternoon. Can you see how Satan, no, this is me. Can you see how Satan is tying so-called climate change, saving Mother Earth, and the future rapture together to deceive the nations? It is and will be a huge deception. Unfortunately, the globalists really believe this stuff and are pushing to cleanse the Earth on their own by depopulating our planet. That is ultimately what eugenics and abortion are all about. The actions and agendas of the globalists start to make more sense when you understand their religion and when you can see past their noble-sounding arguments. There are many more articles, books, and websites devoted to this same New Age demonic narrative that you can research for yourself. Okay, so in all of that, you basically have this concept that the Earth is going to cleanse itself and that there are going to be motherships coming in to take people away, and it's all to save the planet. With the environmental movement and everything going on with, people talking about extraterrestrial life, aliens, Congress is looking into it now. We've got whistleblowers and all this kind of stuff going on. They've actually admitted, yes, we do have alien technology and all these things. We live in a time where all of this is converging right now. It's pretty crazy. So let me just point out a few things from Scripture. Luke 21, 25 through 28. And there will be signs in the sun and the moon and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth. I believe that is something coming on the earth, not just fancy talk. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to happen, look up. We've talked about look up, lift up your head because your redemption draws nigh. I think we're really close to that. Okay, well, we have to be really close to that. 2 Thessalonians 2, 11 through 14. And for this reason God will send them strong delusion that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So we understand the truth. We know that the rapture is coming, and it's pretty obvious that the enemy, Satan, also knows. Otherwise, why would he be having his New Age channelers writing about this stuff? Okay? So what I believe is when this happens, they're going to trot these people out. Maybe not these people because they might be dead. I don't have any idea. I haven't researched it that thoroughly now, but they may not be here, but they're followers, and they will certainly, just as I could find these articles, they can find them. Oh yeah, we've known this was going to happen for a long time, and here's what it means. And it doesn't even have to sound really too convincing, because in the absence of real truth, they will accept the lie. They will gladly accept the lie. In fact, I believe all it has to be is semi-plausible. And they'll be, okay, yeah. Okay, so it's not a rapture. We remember these crazy people talking about a rapture. It's not that. We're all okay. It's just that the earth had to cleanse itself, and our space buddies came and they took people because their consciousness wasn't quite what it needed to be or whatever. But again, all it has to do is just be kind of plausible, So I believe Luke 21 tells us about things that are coming on this earth and men's hearts failing them because of it. And then we have 2 Thessalonians that basically talks about the strong delusion. I believe this is part of the strong delusion. So now we're going to talk about a fellow by the name of Avi Loeb. Have you heard of him? Okay. So let me give his credentials really quick. Avi Loeb is the head of the Galileo Project, founding director of Harvard University's Black Hole Initiative, director of the Institute for Theory and Computation at the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, and the former chair of the Astronomy Department at Harvard University. He is a former member of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, and a former chair of the Board of Physics and Astronomy of the National Academies. So, he's a Harvard guy, basically, okay? So, this is an article that he wrote recently. And I'll just read this really quick and then we'll talk about it, okay? And you'll see how all this ties in. Tomorrow, I am scheduled for a public interview with the distinguished science journalist Joshua Foer, F-O-E-R. I have no idea how to pronounce that. On the topic, get this, extraterrestrial intelligence and the Jews. Crazy, huh?
Just a little.
You weren't expecting that title, were you? I wasn't either, okay? It is reasonable to imagine the absence of anti-Semitism in interstellar space. If aliens or their artifacts arrive at Earth from the other side of the Milky Way, tens of thousands of light years away, they must have started their journey long before the Jewish people emerged. Even if they were to travel near the speed of light, even if they were to travel at the speed of light. Therefore, any interstellar visitors did not have the Jews in mind when they started their journey. The arrival of superhuman intelligence at Earth could fulfill the longing for a messianic age in Jewish eschatology, ushering peace, justice, and prosperity on Earth. The agency of superhuman intelligence could either be in the form of alien intelligence or artificial intelligence, both abbreviated as AI. Throughout history, this is a legit guy, okay? This isn't some doofus in his mother's basement talking about aliens, okay? Throughout history, the Jews have been called the people of the book because of the central role of the Torah in Jewish tradition. But long after the Torah was delivered, cosmologists, he didn't need a haircut. Cosmologists have learned new details about cosmic history, which means they made up new things because they can't go there, they can't go back in time, so they're just making all this up. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. The latest scientific data confirms that the universe started at a point in time as suggested in the book of Genesis, but the subsequent cosmic evolution was different from the biblical report. Humans shared a common ancestor with chimpanzees about 5 to 10 million years ago. But then why are there still chimpanzees today? And I don't have to go to Harvard to think that way. Okay. Let's see. 5 to 10 million years ago on a rocky planet that was made 4.5 billion years ago in a debris disk around the sun. They just make this stuff up. And then they pat each other on the backs. They're so smart. Which is one out of hundreds of billions of stars within the Milky Way galaxy, which was assembled from mergers of smaller galaxies dating back to the first galaxies, which formed when the universe was 100 million years old. Well before that, the cosmic soup of elementary particles was nearly uniform to a part in 100,000, whatever. The seeds for all the, this is all so stupid that I almost don't even want to read it, but anyway. The seeds for all the objects we see today likely originated from quantum mechanical fluctuations much less than a second after the beginning. Okay. The objects we find in the present day universe were made over 13.8 billion years. So they went back on a calendar and they finally figured out, it's just so stupid. Anyway, not 6 days. So he's basically saying that the universe is 13.8 billion years old, not 6 days. Okay. That part may very well be true because obviously God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus pre-existed our current time or age. No, the ages are broken down basically into 2,000 years. So Adam was 6,000 years ago. Obviously, a lot happened before that. So, I don't know. I think he's kind of getting it mixed up as far as the universe versus Earth. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe the universe is eternal like God. I have no idea. The Bible doesn't tell us, so we can only just... Some things are fun to talk about and sort of like, debate. Like, kick the rock around a little bit and see... But when you say, I'm going to put this in a textbook and children are going to learn this because I'm Mr. Smarty Pants from Harvard, and so the universe now, I know, is 13.8 billion years. Had to add the 0.8 because 13 billion, that's like, oh, you just pulled that out of a hat, right? But you put a 0.8 on there and now you're like, they must have done some calculating to figure that out. That's just stupid. Anyway, so moving on. Encountering superhuman intelligence from interstellar space would challenge the biblical story in two ways. You see where this is going? First, it would imply that humans are not the pinnacle of creation. Maybe those chimpanzees are. If a chimp comes in here to buy one of these old Porsches, I might start believing this. If humans were indeed created in the image of God, then the existence of superhuman intelligence would imply that the Creator endowed humans with an inferior intelligence. The limited capabilities of the human brain would trigger jealousy of the type encountered when witnessing the owner of a new computer which is far superior to the one you own. Okay. No comment. This is just really dumb. This is Harvard. This is what you get at Harvard now for your money. Second, if smarter aliens exist and they are far more accomplished than we are... I kind of laugh. It's so stupid. Okay, if smarter aliens exist and they are far more accomplished than we are in... I should have read this before I came in here tonight. I wouldn't be so startled with the stupidity. Okay, science and technology, then they must have acquired more credit points throughout cosmic history since they... Maybe this is a joke. You get a gold star, and you get a gold star.
You don't get a gold star.
Okay, let me try to finish this paragraph. Throughout cosmic history, since they reflect better on God's image. I don't know what I just read. Let me try it again. Second, if smarter aliens exist, and they are far more accomplished than we are in science and technology, then they must have acquired more credit points throughout cosmic history since they reflect better on God's image. It didn't get any better.
I think you just need to skip the rest of that, Karl.
But I'm going somewhere with this because I'm pretty sure it's all going to connect. Okay. The experience would resemble witnessing smarter siblings of whom our parents must be prouder.
I'm the smartest sibling.
Oh my goodness. I don't really think of God in those terms. Okay. Most stars formed billions of years before the sun. If superhumans traveled away from their home exoplanet to interstellar space billions of years ago, they would probably be very tired and hungry by now. I just
Oh gosh. I'm sorry.
We're laughing about aliens.
This is what we do.
What goes on.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I can't help it. You want to stay?
Yeah, I just left Joelle and Devin.
Okay. Yeah, this is good. Okay, break time.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have tears in my
I
eyes.
know, so do I. I'm crying over here. Trying to hold it together.
And well, all I can say is Charlie Kirk is right. The college is a scam.
Yep. They're from
coming,
Harvard.
Yeah, that coming from Harvard is
Oh my goodness.
like what? I like where you added in that they were tired and hungry.
You got that in?
Yes.
I think I was already left.
They had to go to the cosmic drive-through. Two cheeseburger, fries, please.
It's not in and out, it's out and in.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's try to get through this. Back to Avi Loeb. My wife just joined us, and she has no idea what we're talking about. She walked in, and we are dying laughing. And she's like, "What's going on in here?" Okay, so let's do this again. I can't even see it anymore. Most stars formed billions of years before the sun. If superhumans traveled away from their home exoplanet to the interstellar space billions of years ago, while we are currently obsessed with thinking about the drive-thru again. While we are currently obsessed with terrestrial conflicts and invest $2.4 trillion worldwide on military budgets, then meeting them could indeed deliver a messianic message to all of us. Remember, all of this stuff doesn't have to be really that reasonable, it just has to be plausible. In the absence of truth, this will sound pretty good. Successful aliens would serve as better role models than our politicians. Jews were persecuted throughout history. Okay, as a result, they instinctively respond to each historic event by asking the question, is this good for the Jews? Regarding the futuristic encounter with extraterrestrial intelligence, my answer to this question is definitely yes. What have I been talking about for 2 years now? Really more than that. I mean, 2 years on camera, but before that, for a long time. That the Antichrist, all this is connected. Is there a fly on my head?
No, but
No,
there's
but
gnats
it's
everywhere.
And there's a fly flying around you.
Oh, golly.
We just chased it away from over here, sorry.
Not the gnat.
Okay, without guidance from aliens, we might never get to the promised land. That's scary right there. Let me be clear, from an astrophysical perspective, the promised land is definitely not on Earth. The reason is simple. Earth will likely be engulfed by the envelope of the sun when the sun becomes a red giant. As a result, well, that's heartwarming. As a result, terrestrial Jewish eschatology will end in 7.6 billion years. So I don't think we have too much to worry about. Okay. Despite traditional thinking, Jerusalem is not located at the center of the universe. Cosmological data that we made up ourselves indicates that the universe has no center. Where is it?
On your
On your
hair.
hair.
Don't look like Mike Pence. Okay, sorry, we had to take another break because I'm battling a kamikaze fly. And I don't know, this has been a crazy evening, hasn't it? All right, so let me try this one more time. Despite traditional thinking, Jerusalem is not located at the center of the universe. Cosmological data, which we made up, indicates that the universe has no center. I added that we made up, pardon. Both Jews and Gentiles are therefore free to populate any habitable planet or space platform they fancy. Well, thank you, Avi Loeb, for letting us know that. Over the last 1,000th of a percent of Earth's history, humans made a dramatic transition in their habitat by transitioning from African jungles to high rises in major cities. The transition from high rises to space would be less challenging. Yeah, I don't think so. Our current rocket technology can bring humans to the nearest stars within 60,000 years. So, hey, look, we've got that to look forward to. The same period of time that elapsed since the first wave of migration of the current human population out of Africa, as chimpanzees, I guess. In the distant future, the promised land could be on a habitable exoplanet around a dwarf star, like the nearest Proxima Centauri b or whatever. It's all stupid, I'm sorry. The most common dwarf stars would live up to 10 trillion years. And we know that because we made it up. 1,000 times longer than the sun. With long-term thinking, Jewish eschatology could be extended to trillions of years if a Jewish community with its synagogues and extraterrestrial temple is established on a habitable exoplanet around a dwarf star. This could be the real deal in terms of the promised land. There are hundreds of billions of candidate stars to choose from, and the real estate available near them is unlikely to be surrounded by any sentiments of anti-Semitism. All of this is meant to say that the future could be better than the past for the Jewish people. Jewish astronauts can prove to be the chosen people if they lead humanity to a brighter future among the stars. That was about the stupidest thing I've ever read in my entire life. And just, you came in late, just so you know, that is from a Harvard professor. So that's why I said that Charlie Kirk was right. College is a scam. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, we started off this conversation with reading from my book, which isn't a scam, by the way, where the New Age, we've talked about it before, that the New Age mediums, they think they're channeling aliens from outer space, and they're basically speaking to demons, obviously, and they're telling them, and have been for decades now, that there's going to come a day within this generation when people are going to just disappear off the planet, but it's okay because the space alien mothership came in close, and that's what's happening. The Earth had to cleanse itself to enter a new vibration. It's all New Age stuff. And you watched that lady who's now a Christian that was deep into the occult and New Age, and she talks about a lot of that, like how they believe in these vibrations and things like that. That's why we don't buy shirts that say vibes, good vibes and stuff like that. Anyway, that's a different subject. But so, long story short, here we have a Jewish, highly respected author, professor, all of the above. Okay, he's like the go-to guy. He created what's called the Loeb. What do you call it? The Loeb something. It was stupid too. He's the one that came up with the Loeb scale. I believe that's what it's called. I don't have any of this in front of me. Basically, he concocted this scale that will tell the world if an interstellar or some kind of a cosmic object that's hurtling through our solar system is a rock, or just natural, or if it's an alien, or if it's the technology. Okay, so on his scale, he put this current object that NASA and people all over the world have been watching since July. The first interstellar object. Interstellar meaning it doesn't come from obviously our solar system, but also our galaxy, I think. They believe that these are items like ThreeI Atlas, they say, comes from Sagittarius, from that quadrant or whatever. I don't know. Okay. I did take astronomy in college, but I think I slept through most of those classes, so I'm not the go-to guy on it. But anyway, so in 2017, there was the first one that was discovered called Oumuamua, which is Hawaiian for, I'm not going to do it. Let's say something stupid. Wasn't there like a cartoon that made up some really funny, never mind. Okay, okay. And then in 2019, Borisov must have been a Russian rock, okay? And then in 2025, in July, ThreeI Atlas appeared. So now what people who really believe heavily in alien technology are thinking is the first two were scout ships, and that this may be like the mothership. And it's weird because right now, at last count, and I haven't followed this in a while, but I think there were 7 different comet/things that they're watching kind of coming into our solar system right now. All of which now some people who I think are really too wrapped up in this are saying like they could all be scout ships and motherships and all this kind of stuff. And ThreeI Atlas is probably like the mothership. They say that they're guessing, obviously, but through their telescopes and their calculations, they're thinking that it's like the size of Manhattan, which if something that big hit the Earth, that's lights out, okay? But it's not projected to hit the Earth or come even close. Right now it's supposedly on the other side of the sun, which is interesting because as it as it came close enough for us to see it from Earth well with telescopes, well, we as the U.S. own basically all of those telescopes, and the government shut down, so we can't see it. That's kind of interesting. I think that's the timing of it is interesting. So anyway, but the internet and news, like News Nation, stuff like that, have been talking about this, especially since this guy that we just read about, Avi Loeb, has put it as a 4 on his scale. So a 1 being it's a rock hurtling through space, and a 10 being it's absolutely an alien ship, okay? So he's got it almost in the middle, like, because this thing hasn't acted like a typical comet. And I'm not going to go into all the scientific stuff because I would make myself look really stupid because I don't know. But when I listen to physicists and stuff talk about it, they talk about, and astronomy people, they talk about the tail and the cone and the this and that and the other. So here is a real image of it, not much to go by. Here is probably an AI image of what they think it would look like up close. And then here, okay, get this is like an economic magazine. So ThreeI Atlas, alien spacecraft, interstellar object, ThreeI Atlas, unusual path or trajectory raises questions about natural or technological origin. And so a lot of people are saying because of some of these weird anomalies with it, it's not behaving like a normal comet in certain ways. And they're saying that the makeup of it, based on their calculations, has a lot of nickel and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, I don't want to be boring with that. But so a lot of people suspect that this is an alien ship. So, what are the odds that right now, when we're kind of, I think, in very high watch time, that this thing is coming and people all over the world are watching it and are talking about, even this Avi Loeb talking about the Jewish Messianic age in correlation with ThreeI Atlas. There's a lot of interconnectivity there. So, what is my point? What is my thesis here? I don't really have one. It's all pretty loosey-goosey. But to me, it's like the timing is everything. Again, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't even have to sound that reasonable. It just needs to be probable. And people will grasp onto whatever they can just to say it wasn't the rapture. Because then they have accountability. Like, if it was the rapture, that means I wasn't selected to go, right? But if it's just the aliens came down and took the bad people that were keeping the earth down. They didn't believe in the science. They didn't believe in this, that, and the other. They prayed and worshiped to some god that, whatever. Now the aliens are going to come and they're going to show up and they're going to say, oh no, none of that's real, like Avi Loeb was saying here in his article. If they show up, that would start the Messianic age because they will enlighten us with all of their wisdom and all this kind of stuff. I think that's the great deception, the delusion that's coming. That's, again, we talked about Paul speaking to the Thessalonians, Jesus talking about men's hearts failing them for seeing the things that are coming on the earth in Luke 21. I think these things are connected. The fact that in 2017 of all years, a lot of things happened in 2017. I don't know. I mean, it's just all speculation. I thought it'd be fun to talk about tonight. I didn't realize that article was going to be as fun as it was to read.
It makes sense.
It's just that a lot of these things are kind of coming together at the same time. And then I thought, okay, so we've got the number. I wasn't even planning to talk about this, but we've got the number in the Bible, 1,260 days, right? And then we got a 1,290. So if you were to look at 1,260, which is the first half of the tribulation, and I'm a numbers guy as far as understanding what numbers mean, But I don't do a lot of calculations. I'm not trying to figure out the exact day and hour based on some number that's in the Bible. I've never wanted to do that. I don't think it's that important, to be honest with you. I know we're in a season, and that's what matters. So, but I did think, you know what, there's 1260 number, and we know, for instance, that Apophis is due to at least do a really close flyby on April 13th, 2029. Okay? If you take April 13th and you say, what if that's at least around the middle of the tribulation, which we've hypothesized before? If you deduct 1260 days from April 13th, 2029, you arrive at Halloween, October 31st of this month. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Of all days, Halloween, and you think, okay. So then I thought, okay, why was that date chosen to be like a satanic day, and where witches do all the? I don't really know. I don't know the history of it, but maybe it's more prophetic in their world than historic. I don't know. I don't know what the historic significance of that day would be to them. I don't really care to know. But I just thought it was really interesting. There's that kamikaze fly again. It was really interesting that when you deduct 1260 days from April 13th, 2029, you will arrive at October 31st, 2025, which is like, what, a week or so away now? I don't think that means anything. Well, I'm not going to say I don't think it does. I wouldn't hang my hat on it. I just thought it was interesting. So anyway, I think there is a conjunction between all the alien stuff that's going on and being talked about all the time, the fact that we have interstellar objects entering our solar system starting in 2017 that they're watching and tracking now, and this whole messianic idea that the aliens are going to come and they're going to enlighten us and start a messianic age, or according to Avi Loeb, maybe the Jews all have to get on a spaceship and go to another planet where there's no anti-Semitism. So I don't know. But the theme is that the Jews are ready for their Messiah, and they're ready for someone to stand up for them to stop the anti-Semitism that we're seeing expand right now. Of course, it's going to expand up until a point where somebody's got to come in and say, oh, I'm putting a stop to this, and then he's going to be their man. So right now, you look at the current situation in the Middle East with Hamas and all. This is how I know that we're not at the conclusion of Ezekiel 38, 39, because God isn't getting the glory. Donald Trump is getting all the glory. He's the one, basically, I did this, and they've got, in Jerusalem right now and in other parts of Israel, they have huge banners and posters of Trump and thank you Trump and all this kind of stuff. God's not getting the glory, okay? There's coming a day very soon where God's going to get the glory for that. But then they're going to be deceived. Anyway, that's what I got tonight. It's getting late. The fly is really bugging me. Okay, your mission this week, if you choose to accept it, is to pray like crazy for persecuted Christians in Nigeria. I mean, also in Syria and all over the world, but right now, Christians are being slaughtered in Nigeria like probably no other time before. And of course, it's Islam that's doing it. It's not Baptists slaughtering Methodists or anything like that. It's Islam. It's always Islam. And it's bad. It's gotten really bad. And it's so disheartening and frustrating. I don't even want to read the articles about it anymore because it just breaks my heart. And because just like they say, no Jews, no news, because Jews aren't involved. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's Africa. Nobody cares. Oh, they're killing each other. Nobody cares. No, it's Muslims killing Christians. It's not ethnic. It's not because they're from a different tribe. It's because Islam tells them to kill Christians and Jews. Plain and simple. That's the reality. It's not a peaceful religion. You cannot coexist with these people. You will coexist right to your grave with these people, okay? That is their belief system. It idiotic to think that, oh, it's okay, let them into our country and take. No, they're going to take over. That's the reality. That's a part of jihad. There are many different methods of jihad, and that's one of them. But so you've got, in Nigeria, you've got Boko Haram and all kinds of groups that are just unbelievably savage. Just awful. And they are killing and beheading Christians. That's all I want to say about tonight, because I get really upset about it. But I you know, we got to keep praying for them, but also, you know, everybody's focused, hyper-focused all the time on Israel and Gaza and whatever, and it's a genocide. No, here we actually really do have one, okay? They want to kill all the Christians, wipe them out, or make them converts to Islam. That's a genocide. Nobody cares. Where are the marches? Where are the riots? Where are the protests? Where does anybody care? Nobody cares. But so where I feel so frustrated about it is, what can you do besides prayer? Okay, but what can we do about it? That part, man, I'd love to have some suggestions, because I know Donald Trump and I know the senators and all. They know this is going on. I'm not the only one that knows this is going on. So, but nobody really seems to be lifting a finger to help them. And then if they do, or if they talk about it, they will never say that it's Islam killing Christians. Maybe CBN or somebody that will say that, but otherwise it's just ethnic or it's whatever. Sorry. We live in a very deceiving world. This world wants to deceive us at every turn, and they want to cover up the sins of one group and try to make the other group seem like they're the evil ones, when that's just not the case. And that's why I said it's not Baptist killing Methodist. When have you ever heard of that happening? Or Baptist. So Baptist killing as a group, like where's the militant Baptists that are, you know, trying to wipe out the Mormons or something? Okay, it doesn't happen. But within Islam, they kill each other. And you go back to the Bible, Ishmael, wild asses of men killing each other and killing everybody else, always at war. That's what we have anyway. But you know, the reality is in Africa, they're not Ishmaelites. They just bought into the same religion of the Ishmaelites. So anyway, that's what I have tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again to everyone who supports this through prayer and through offering. I greatly appreciate it. And we will be traveling to Alabama this week, and we'll be back in a few weeks. But while we're there, hopefully, well, I'll be back. My wife says no more of this traveling. She's staying. So I will send her a turkey for Thanksgiving, I guess. And I'm just joking. No, we got to figure a lot of things out. Our life is a mess right now, but God is good, and it's all going to be okay. So anyway, everyone go look up Proverbs 19:21, because that is my verse right now. Because I keep making plans and then it never seems to work out. But God's ultimate plan is what I want. So we love you guys. Thank you so much, and appreciate your watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Would still like for this channel to grow, but if God wants to keep it small, then that's up to Him. So anyway, God bless. Take care.